The Kentucky Bluegrass that we planted on our backyard golf course has finally germinated. It's a nice sunny morning here, and you can see that great green haze. That is the Kentucky Bluegrass. It has come to life here in the last week or so. If you're just joining this one, I planted this Kentucky Bluegrass 6 weeks later than the cutoff point. Everything I read about says this grass will probably not make it through the winter that we're going to have. I think it might. I'm going to give it a chance, and one thing I have learned is never doubt nature. This grass has been around longer than we have, and it will continue to be around longer than we have, so I think it can make it. I'm trying to build roots right now. However, last night was super cold. It got down to -7 Celsius. That's like 18, 19 degrees Fahrenheit. There was a heavy blanket of frost everywhere this morning. And this is Kentucky Bluegrass, so it is a cool season grass, but some of it is only a few days old. So we'll continue to watch the bluegrass. I'm hoping it doesn't turn black and die. This is the sod. I just finished 5,000 square feet of sod going around the pond. Frost has no issue with the sod. It actually doesn't mind the cool weather. All we're wanting to do with this sod right now is grow roots. So I'm keeping it wet. It's happy. It's just putting roots on to get through the winter. And then next spring, it will jump into high gear. I'm going to take you up on that ridge way up there, and I'm going to show you a view where I think we need to do a tee box next year. It's just such a great looking view down at the course. And as we work our way up, I actually planted a fescue up there 2 years ago now, and it was really just in the worst dirt possible. It was a natural sandy gravel that's here, and that sheep fescue has done so well. I'm impressed with it. If you have a place or an area at home that you just want a low maintenance, tough grass that can handle extreme cold, extreme heat, drought, doesn't need water, doesn't need a lot of food, it just does its own thing, and it looks great. So we're gonna go clean that up. If we come around here, I have this huge rock hill here that was just basically made to get rid of all the rock that we had on this property. It is such a rocky spot. Once we started digging, all these rocks showed up, and the guy on the excavator leveled this area off, and it is just sand and gravel. And this is that sheep fescue, and it looks pretty good. It just does its job, holds down the soil, doesn't let any erosion occur. Shortly after I put the grass seed down, we had a couple huge rains, and it washed all of this hill out. One of the seedlings ended up here, and that is exactly what you get out of one seedling. It's like a little clumpy, tufty plant, kind of cool, super tough, doesn't take any maintenance at all, and it just grows. Sheep fescue, it's just a fine fescue. It's very dense and matted. The nice thing with this fine fescue is it only grows this tall. I mowed it once in May, and that was 5 months ago. So it just sits here, does its thing, and I love it. So as we work our way up to the top of this hill, we have this. This is a winter sliding hill for the kids. They love it. You can fly down here onto the golf course, and you can actually hit the pond. This is a pretty cool look here down at the fairway, and I think we could actually do a tee box up here. It's just such a different look. You can't see the far green, so you could maybe try to go for it, but with the trees, I don't think you're making it anywhere close. So we would force you to lay up and just add a little bit of an element to this hole. So I'm gonna bring my push mower up here. I'm gonna bag these leaves, cut down this fescue just to get it ready for winter, so we can come out of the spring and we don't have a huge mat of grass to clean up at that point. So now as we go from this level, we can actually level up through the bush here, and it's a little bit of a walk, but we come out to an opening up there, and it is a super cool look at both greens. Really fortunate to have a nice clearing up here. And as we come up to the ridge, you get just a crazy, super view at that far green. I don't know about you, but I think it's way too nice of a view up here to not use it. You could build maybe a wooden deck and put down an artificial tee mat on it. But it'd be a great shot to try and get over there. You're so much higher than the green. Just a really cool look. And of course here we can get a good look at the bluegrass barely coming through, but you can see it. And then you can see all of those wash lines. I pushed a lot of seed down. The soil held on quite well. I'm happy with that. I think we'll have a little bit of fixing in the spring. But that heavy rain really pushed a lot of the seed down into those shiny areas. That's really just a silty mud there. So next year, I think I'm gonna take some time, really try and figure out how we can get a nice tee box here, because I think it's gonna add so much to the backyard golf course. I really like using a bagging lawnmower in the fall for fall cleanup. the leaves and the grass, it just cleans everything up nice and neat. It cuts it all at one height. I think it's just so much faster than raking leaves. If you can get your hands on a bagging mower, I think that's just the best way to go. And the best part about collecting this in the fall is you have the leaves and the grass in there, and that is almost a perfect carbon to nitrogen ratio that you need to make really nice compost at home. It's pre-mixed, ready to go. Well, I love to make compost. I think it's one of the greatest things you can do if you have a lawn or a garden or flower beds. Compost is the absolute best amendment that you can do, and I've made a lot of it here over the years. So there we go, we've got it all cleaned up for winter. This is 100% sheep fescue. It's a fine fescue growing here in total garbage soil, but it's doing its thing. It's looking pretty good when you get it cleaned up. So I didn't know what to expect with this stuff. It was kind of in the pandemic when you couldn't get seed, so it was the only thing I could get. And now 2.5 years later, I'm quite happy with it and it looks good. So if you've got an area for it, don't be afraid to try a pure fine fescue. The base of this hill comes out right at the smaller golf green here on the north end of the property. That bentgrass is looking very good. We started this video this morning when there was a heavy frost on the golf course, on the bluegrass, but it looks like it's totally fine. We're really nice and full here. I'll get down and take a look at this. It looks like that frost did not affect the grass at all, so that is good. This is also sheep fescue and it's just gone wild. I planted this spring, so it's done exceptionally well here. There was a huge pile of dirt here and the green is right behind me, the larger green. And I just wanted as much dirt as I could find to build my green up as high as I could. So I came in with the excavator, took all this dirt, moved it out that way, just scraped it, and again, it was like rock and gravel, and this stuff has grown so well. It kind of has a cool look when it gets matted down, so I'm thinking of using it in a lot of these out of bound areas. I think I can get a little bit of green color to it, and it's also going to become a hazard here if you do get into it. It's going to be very difficult to get a golf ball out of this stuff. I'm impressed with this sheep fescue, I gotta say. It grows really well on terrible soil. That green is looking really good, and as we work our way over here, there is a giant hill of dirt that you probably saw show up that wasn't here in the early days of these videos. The neighbors have a commercial property and they were nice enough to kind of build a privacy berm here. They did that 2 summers ago, and after it was done, I came in and I threw my sheep fescue seed down. This is like a 45, this is probably a 55-degree hill here. It doesn't maybe look that big on camera, but it is super steep. And that was a hot day in August. I took my time, put the seed down, and then 3 weeks went by and we did not get any rain. It was heartbreaking because you can see the weeds took over. This was just garbage dirt that they had lying around. But now this year we had a rainier year, and you can see a little bit of my fescue coming through here in spots. So of the 3 projects that I put the sheep fescue down on, this one kind of flopped because we didn't get that rain. But it is there, and this stuff is tough. So I think as the years go by, I may tackle it again, overseed it, rip down those weeds if I really get some time here and this course is sort of looking good and running itself. But for now, it's really just a weedy hill. If you overhit your ball, you're gonna be in trouble here. We'll see how this goes. I'm not going to give up on this sheep fescue. It just needs time. It is such a tough plant, that fine fescue. So like I said, if you've got an area that you don't want to mow all the time, you don't want to water it, you don't want to fertilize it, but you kind of just want it green and clean looking, this stuff's great. It doesn't grow very tall. You don't have to deal with it. And man, it is tough. This is a south-facing hill, terrible dirt as you can see, and it's still hanging on. Up next, the golf greens have responded to the above average temperatures, so I dropped the height of cut for our final mow of the year.